Hold up.
Stop scrolling for a second. Because what happened tonight in Dubai was not just another tennis result buried in the stats section. This wasn't just a WTA 1000 qualifier. This wasn't just Alex Eala wins and moves on. No, what we witnessed at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships was the moment a star stopped rising and started exploding. Dubai is used to spectacle. This is a city of supercars, gold-plated everything, and skyline-defining ambition. It hosts royalty, billionaires, and global icons without blinking. Tennis here is typically elegant.
Polite applause. Corporate suites.
Controlled energy. But tonight the stadium didn't sound like tennis. It sounded like a World Cup final.
A rock concert.
A national celebration. And it all revolved around one name, Alex Eala, a 20-year-old phenom who just turned a Tuesday night qualifier into a cultural earthquake. Let's set the scene that early round matches at big tournaments are usually calm affairs.
Fans trickle in.
The energy builds slowly. But when Eala stepped onto that court to face Hailey Baptiste, something extraordinary happened. The Filipino community in the UAE showed up. And not just casually. Not just a few flags here and there. Thousands packed the stands. Flags waving.
Faces painted.
Chants echoing through the stadium. The red, blue, and yellow flooded the arena like it was Manila transplanted to the Middle East. It wasn't an away match, it was a home game. And the noise? Veteran journalists on site said the decibel levels felt like primetime Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal at a Grand Slam. That's not hyperbole. That's the atmosphere. This wasn't support. This was movement-level energy that we've been tracking Eala's rise for years. The prodigy from the Rafa Nadal Academy. The junior Grand Slam champion. The steady climb through rankings. The breakthrough performances in 2025 that made insiders whisper, "She's coming." Well, the whispers are over. Because tonight, the roar began. On court, the match itself was gritty. Eala didn't stroll through it.
She battled.
She trailed early. Baptiste tested her with power and pace.
But Eala adjusted.
She started working those sharp lefty angles, dragging Baptiste off the court, feeding off the crowd's relentless energy. Every point won felt like a goal scored. She took the first set 6-4. It wasn't flashy. It was earned. Then the drama hit. Baptiste, dealing with an abdominal issue, struggled physically in the second set. After falling behind 1-0, she made the tough call to retire. The match ended abruptly. Now normally, a retirement kills the vibe. The crowd sighs. People head for the exits. It's anticlimactic. Not here. The moment the umpire announced, "Game, set, match, Eala," the stadium detonated. I'm talking Grand Slam final energy for a second-round qualifier. Fans screaming. Flags whipping in the air. Phones in the sky capturing history. The noise didn't fade, it surged. That reaction tells you everything. Because this isn't just about forehands and backhands. This is about identity. Representation. A community seeing one of their own on one of the sport's biggest stages and refusing to be quiet about it. And let's zoom out for a second. Women's tennis has been searching for its next transcendent draw in the post-Serena era. Yes, the current champions are incredible. Iga Swiatek is a machine of precision. Aryna Sabalenka is raw power personified. The level is elite. But who moves culture? Who makes someone who has never watched a tennis match buy a ticket and stand in line for hours? Who turns qualifying rounds into headline events? Tonight, Alex Eala answered that question. The footage coming out of Dubai is surreal. Fans leaning over barriers just to glimpse her. Security scrambling to hold back waves of supporters desperate for autographs. People screaming her name during changeovers. It looked less like a tennis tournament and more like Beatlemania. This is what we call the rockstar effect, and we use that phrase too loosely in sports.
But this
fits. Tournament organizers are reportedly adjusting plans on the fly. Extra security. Crowd control measures. Bigger court allocations if she keeps advancing. Because they're realizing something in real time. When Eala plays, people show up. And that kind of magnetism can't be coached. It can't be manufactured by marketing teams. It happens organically when talent, timing, and identity collide. She's through to the round of 32 now. On paper, it's just another step in a long tournament.
But symbolically,
it feels bigger. This was the night Dubai didn't just host a match, it hosted the arrival of an era. The Eala era. And if this is what a qualifier sounds like, imagine what happens when she makes a final. Imagine what happens when she lifts a trophy. Because tonight proves something undeniable. Alex Eala isn't just climbing the rankings, she's carrying a nation's roar with her. And the tennis world just heard it loud and clear. The shockwaves from Dubai aren't just coming from the stands. They're rippling through the locker room. Even Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8 and Eala's next opponent, has already acknowledged it.
She called Alex huge for tennis. That's not casual praise.
That's a top 10 player recognizing something bigger than rankings. And Paolini admitted something even more telling. For someone ranked around number 40 in the world, the atmosphere surrounding Eala is unlike anything she's experienced before. Think about that. We're not talking about a reigning Grand Slam champion. We're not talking about a former world number 1. We're talking about a 20-year-old still carving her path, and yet the energy around her feels seismic. Even tournament director Sula Talik publicly acknowledged what everyone inside the stadium already knew. The Filipino presence in the UAE isn't just a demographic statistic. Nearly 1 million Filipinos live and work across the Emirates. Around 3,000 are employed by Dubai duty-free alone. That's not a footnote, that's infrastructure, that's an army that buys tickets.
Wears merchandise. Fills seats early. Stays late.
And most importantly, creates an atmosphere that can flip the emotional balance of an entire event. So why is Dubai shocked? Because they underestimated the hunger. They didn't account for what it means when a nation that's been waiting for a global tennis icon finally gets one. We've seen this before in other sports. When Manny Pacquiao stepped into a boxing ring, it wasn't just a fight, it was a national event.
Streets emptied.
Time zones didn't matter. Pride traveled across oceans. Now tennis is seeing the first sparks of that same fire. It's frenzy.
It's chaos.
It's beautiful. And if you want to understand why this matters, you have to look beyond the baseline rallies. You have to examine the ecosystem that allowed this explosion to happen. Dubai is a crossroads of the world. But in many ways, the beating heart of this city is the Filipino expat community. For decades, they've powered industries across the Emirates: healthcare, hospitality, engineering, aviation, retail. They've been the backbone of daily life in sports, though they've mostly been spectators. They tuned in to NBA games. They gathered for boxing megafights.
But tennis? Tennis often felt distant. European. Elite.
A sport played in country clubs and private academies, far removed from the lived experience of overseas workers grinding toward opportunity. Then came Alex Eala. She didn't just arrive as a talented lefty with a lethal forehand. She arrived as representation. When those fans poured into the stadium at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, they weren't just buying a ticket to a match. They were stepping into a moment of visibility. They were watching someone who, like many of them, left home young.
Someone who trained abroad.
Someone chasing global success far from familiar streets. Her journey mirrors the migrant narrative: sacrifice, resilience, ambition. That connection creates something deeper than fandom. It creates ownership. So when she plays, the crowd doesn't sit politely analyzing unforced errors. They live every swing with her. When she missed a first serve against Hailey Baptiste, the groan that rolled through the arena wasn't frustration. It was shared anxiety. When she ripped that cross-court forehand winner to secure the crucial break in the first set, the reaction wasn't applause, it was release. A collective exhale. That emotional synchronization is rare in tennis, especially in early rounds. Local organizers weren't prepared for it. They're accustomed to measured reactions. Scattered cheers. Respectful silence during rallies. What they encountered instead was raw, unfiltered connection between player and people in a qualifying match. They'd never seen anything like it. Now, let's cut through the hysteria and talk about the tennis itself. Because none of this matters if the level doesn't hold up. Baptiste is no pushover. Ranked 39th in the world, armed with serious firepower and tour experience, she represented a genuine threat.
On paper, this was a coin flip.
There was no script guaranteeing Eala would feed off the crowd and dominate. In fact, she started slowly. She fell behind 1-2 early in the first set. And under that weight of expectation, thousands chanting your name, cameras tracking every movement, it would have been easy to overhit.
To press. To force the moment. A year ago, maybe she does. But this version of Eala is different. She stayed patient. She built points instead of rushing them. She used that heavy lefty spin to drag Baptiste off the court, opening angles and stretching rallies. She trusted the process. At 2-3, she broke serve. That break was the hinge of the match. You could feel the shift.
The crowd got louder, but she didn't get wilder.
She held serve. She managed tempo.
She closed the set 6-4 with composure that belied her age. And that's the most impressive part. Playing in front of a hostile crowd is hard. Playing in front of a roaring home crowd can be even harder. Every mistake feels amplified.
Every pause becomes a spotlight.
When hundreds of voices scream your name every time you reach for your towel, maintaining focus is a psychological marathon. Eala passed that test. When Baptiste retired in the second set due to injury, the competitive narrative ended abruptly. But the larger story only grew louder. The eruption that followed wasn't about the manner of victory, it was about what the night represented. Now she faces Paolini, a top 10 opponent with poise, speed and experience. And if you thought the noise was deafening before, just wait. Because this isn't a wave building towards something that it's already crashing. The Eala era isn't coming, that it's here. It can be distracting. It can be overwhelming. For most players, that kind of noise becomes static in the brain, 1,000 expectations crashing down at once. But Alexandra Eala didn't shrink from it in Dubai. She absorbed it. She converted it. She turned what could have been pressure into propulsion. That's a rare trait. When Hailey Baptiste retired early in the second set, down 0-1, it was unfortunate. No one wants to see a match end that way. Injuries are the cruel side of this sport, and we wish Baptiste nothing but a speedy recovery. But analytically, there's something worth noting. Eala makes you work. She doesn't donate free points. She doesn't drift through service games. She forces extended rallies. She stretches you wide with that heavy lefty spin. She changes direction abruptly. She grinds. The first set wasn't flashy dominance, it was suffocation by inches. The physical toll of chasing those angles, of absorbing relentless aggression, adds up. Combine that with a stadium roaring at every momentum swing, and the environment becomes claustrophobic for an opponent. It's not just tennis at that point. It's survival. That's part of what people mean when they say the Eala era. But let's pause and interrogate that word. It gets thrown around too easily in sports media. A player wins a few matches, trends on social media, and suddenly we're crowning dynasties. So what makes this different? What makes this grounded in reality instead of hype? The trajectory point 1 year ago, Eala wasn't inside the top 150. Now she's cracked the top 40, a career-high ranking achieved through consistent tour-level results, not one lucky run. That kind of climb in professional tennis isn't incremental. It's meteoric. She's no longer a promising junior prospect from the Rafa Nadal Academy. She's a legitimate threat in WTA draws. And the timing matters. Women's tennis is evolving. The power balance has been shifting geographically for years. Li Na opened doors in China. Naomi Osaka became a global icon representing Japan and Haiti. But Southeast Asia has largely been absent from the top tier of singles dominance. That's a region of more than 600 million people. Eala is filling that vacuum. The Women's Tennis Association sees it. They monitor engagement metrics. They analyze ticket data. They track regional growth markets obsessively. And right now, Eala is a case study in untapped potential. Her social media posts generate engagement that rivals, and sometimes exceeds players ranked significantly higher. In Dubai, the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships became proof of concept. Put her on a show court, and the spectacle follows. This isn't theoretical anymore. It's measurable. But the era conversation isn't only about economics or rankings. It's about symbolism. It's about a player becoming the face of tennis for a region that hasn't had one. Now, the road ahead gets serious. Next up, Jasmine Paolini. This is the litmus test. Paolini isn't just a solid tour pro.
She's elite.
A Grand Slam finalist.
World number 8. Fast. Consistent.
Hardened by deep runs on the biggest stages. She doesn't get rattled easily. This matchup will reveal exactly where Eala stands in the pecking order. And here's the fascinating wrinkle. Paolini knows what she's walking into. In her press conference, she didn't dismiss Eala as a lower-ranked opponent. She sounded respectful.
Careful.
Measured. When a top 10 player says someone is really good for the sport, that's not casual flattery. It's coded acknowledgement. She knows the crowd will be against her. When Paolini steps onto that Dubai court, she'll feel like the villain in someone else's story. Not because of who she is, she's one of the most likable players on tour, but because she stands in the way of a narrative that has caught fire. And that atmosphere? It won't be polite. It will be intense.
Emotional.
Possibly hostile. For Eala, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. If she competes evenly with Paolini or shocks her, the conversation changes instantly.
A win isn't just ranking points. It's credibility.
It's validation that she can defeat the elite while carrying the weight of national expectation. That's the difference between hype and legitimacy. We also have to consider what tournament director Sula Talik publicly acknowledged: her economic and atmospheric impact. When organizers openly recognize a player's draw power, things shift. Scheduling shifts. Court assignments shift. Marketing shifts. Primetime slots. Center court billing. Billboards. Because tournaments are businesses. And businesses respond to demand. Which brings us to the psychology of this crowd. There's a Filipino concept called bayanihan. It refers to communal unity, neighbors coming together to lift a house, literally and figuratively. A shared effort toward a common goal. What unfolded in Dubai looked like Bayanahan inside a tennis stadium. Those fans weren't passive observers. They were participants. Their mission was to lift Eala. When she trailed early against Baptiste, they didn't grow quiet. They amplified. They tried to push her forward with sound alone. That's rare in tennis, a sport traditionally defined by solitude. Players are islands out there. But Eala doesn't feel alone. In the Middle East, in Europe, in North America, wherever there's a strong Filipino diaspora, she brings a traveling home court. And that's not just emotional. It's tactical. Crowds can rattle opponents. They can subconsciously influence marginal calls. They can inject an extra 5% of adrenaline when legs are heavy and lungs are burning. The rest of the tennis world is just now realizing the scale of Filipino fandom. We've seen it in beauty pageants, in basketball, in boxing with Manny Pacquiao. Now tennis is catching on and still figuring out how to manage it. Reports from Dubai suggest security asked fans to quiet down at one point. But how do you silence a tidal wave? You don't. You brace for impact. Let's talk business for a moment. These images from Dubai, flags waving, packed stands, security scrambling, are marketing gold. Baptiste is a talented player. But she doesn't sell out a stadium in Dubai on a Tuesday. Eala does. That translates into appearance fees, sponsorship leverage, broadcast priority. She's evolving into what other sports call a franchise player. In the NBA, you build a team around franchise talent. In tennis, you build your tournament's narrative around them. The Dubai event has existed for decades. It hasn't had a marketing hook like this in years. Expect her face everywhere this week. Expect prime coverage. And that financial gravity gives longevity. Even if she hits a rough patch, as all players do, her ability to draw crowds ensures opportunities. Wild cards. Main draw entries. But let's be clear, she hasn't needed charity.
Top 40 ranking.
Wins over established names.
Deep runs.
She's earned her position. The marketability is icing des. Oh, what did tonight truly represent? Tennis seasons blur together.
Airports. Hotels.
Back-to-back tournaments. Most matches fade into statistical archives. But every so often, there's a moment that cuts through the noise. Dubai was one of those moments. Thousands roaring for a 20-year-old. Organizers scrambling.
Opponents bracing.
Media recalibrating. It felt like a declaration. Fresh energy is flooding this sport. Eala didn't just defeat Baptiste. She transformed a tennis stadium into a cathedral of national pride. She proved that ranking isn't the only measure of impact. You can be outside the top 30 and still be the gravitational center of the event. But the story isn't finished. The hype is intoxicating. The rockstar label is tempting. Yet the tennis only gets harder. Paulini awaits. A top 10 competitor who won't be intimidated by volume. She'll bring precision,
speed,
discipline. This next match will test whether hysteria can translate into execution. Can Eala harness the noise again? Can she elevate under brighter lights? Can she shock Dubai not just with attendance numbers, but with elite-level performance? If she can, the conversation shifts permanently. What we saw may become normal. Sold-out early rounds. Frenzied atmospheres. Global attention every time she steps onto court. To the fans in Dubai, you set a benchmark. The WTA will reference that atmosphere all season. Alex Eala, the stage is yours. The lights are unforgiving. The noise is deafening. And the world is watching. The hype feels real. The momentum feels tangible. And if you care about sport at its most emotional, when underdog narratives collide with superstar energy, this is not something you can ignore. The next chapter is about to be written.